Hey guys, Shane here with Cinema Story Wedding Films, and in this short video I'm going to cover 4 color correction concepts and 1 color grading concept, along with a bonus round at the end of color masking. So let's start off with a quick definition. First off, what is color correction? Color correction is fixing the mistakes of the videographers in post. So if their white balance is off, or let's say they under or overexposed, that is what color correction does. It fixes the problems in post. Color grading, on the other hand, is more of an artistic process of giving the entire film a matching or overall look and feel to the images. To start first with color correction, I always make sure that my project and timeline is completely finished, because there's no point in coloring anything that you're not going to export in your final film. To be able to fix the mistakes and color correct, we need some way to be able to read the exposure value of an image. The best tool, in my opinion, is the Waveform Luma IRE. This not only shows some of the color that's displayed, but also the exposure values. We want to make sure that the entire image stays within 100 to 0, because anything outside of that will lose detail. Now, big important note here, 70 to 75 IRE is the theoretical correct exposure for skin tones. As we scrub through this clip, we can see how the Luma guides are showing us that her skin tone is a bit higher than 75 IRE. So she's a bit overexposed. So we bring down the highlights in the mids until we get them to a nice 75-70 range on their skin tones. But this also applies for anything that you want the viewer to focus on in an image. Take this shot for an example. The strings are the main focus of the framing, and we should draw the attention to the strings in our hands. And I'm not as worried about the rest of her skin tones since they're on the edge of the frame. So as you can see, they're already at 70, but we have some headroom where we can increase the highlights up to 100. So let's go to exposure, increase the highlights so the viewer's eyes automatically are drawn to them. Quick major tip, anytime you add exposure, brightness to any image, you're going to need to go and add some saturation back into the image, because brightening an image will desaturate it. So just remember, if I brighten an image, I have to add color. Now this is more of a Cinema Story Wedding Film specific note, but the way our cameras shoot, we shoot semi-flat, which means we shoot desaturated. So most all of our shots that are 60 frames per second, you will need to go ahead and add anywhere from 10 to 30% color overall, especially outdoor shots when we're shooting in variable frame rate up to 120 frames per second. You're going to need to add almost 50% color to these images. Okay, so we've covered color correction exposure, so now let's move on to color correction color. So when we're running and gunning at these weddings, we don't always have time to properly set our white balance, or perhaps we have mixed lighting, say daylight and incandescent, and you get some weird color cast on skin and dresses and anything white. And that's where we're going to need to go in and take out whatever that color cast is to make sure that 1, skin tones look correct, and 2, pure whites look white. So now that I've completed the exposure and contrast and added saturation, I'm going to start tweaking the color tint. And you can tell there's just a little bit of yellow in this dress, but if you don't know where to start, just go ahead and drag the highlight or the mid-tones really far below and just scrub it through, and you'll find kind of that weird color that's causing the strange look to the dress or to the skin tones. Then just slowly bring it back up till you find the right adjustment. You might want to tweak the mid-tones as well. That's where most of the color tints are going to come from, the highs and the mids. So here's a before and after of this image, and you can really tell the difference. Super flat, contrast, color. Let's do another example. Take these opening drone shots for example. Just by looking at this image, I can tell there's a little bit of green cast on this shot. So I'm going to take a little bit of the green out, and now I can copy and paste this setting on my other drone shot, and it gets us pretty close to the same type of look. Let's take one more example, this hand shot. So first off, I can tell it's an outdoor shot and it needs overall color saturation. So let's add some color to it, and then we can start seeing where we want those skin tones to look. Now typically skin tones are going to kind of have that pinkish reddish color. Add a little more exposure and we've got their hands close to that 75 IRE. Okay, that's it for now for color correction. Hopefully that helps. Let's talk about one color grading aspect that's super important in our wedding films, and that is shot matching. Shot matching is taking the image prior and the one that you're working on and making them look unified, like they came from the same camera. So let's go back to the drone image. Remember we had that slight green cast on it and we fixed it, copy and pasted, and we had a good looking image. Now let's go to the ground camera, which was the GH5, and you'll notice that it too actually has a slight green cast. I wonder what was going on that day. So what we can do is slightly take out some green by comparing it to the image prior and make adjustments until that shot matches the shot before. This is where your artistic eye comes in. You've really just got to play with it until the two shots look like they go together. Not only do you want to color match with taking out that tint out, you also want to match the overall saturation and contrast of your shot sequences. That way you don't go from an overly bright image to a dark image, which can cause your viewer to basically squint or look away from a shot. So you kind of want to ease people into different image sequences to keep your viewers aesthetically pleased. Okay, this video's gone on long enough. I've got some more tips, but let's go ahead and jump to the bonus round of color and shape masking. So first, color masking. If you select the color masking tool and select a color, which with this we're selecting that overexposed bright white, now with these sliders we can bring in a little bit of color into that white area. This is great for sky replacement. However, you never want to overdo it too much, looks really cheesy. For these quick fixes, just put a little tint of color when you want to get a little artistic with it. Moving on to shape masking. If you select your shape mask tool, you can now draw on the image a shape. This inner circle is where the majority of the correction is going to happen, and the outer circle is kind of your bleed, so it kind of tapers off. So for example, this dress, if we wanted to make it brighter or even add more contrast or color to it, we could put this shape over it, make the adjustments, and it shouldn't affect the rest of the image. Now, if the shot's moving, obviously you're going to have to keyframe this shape mask, which can be tedious. So again, only use this if you want to really make something pop or be detailed. However, make sure not to overdo it, because once again, it can definitely look cheesy if overdone. Okay, that's it for today. Again, I'm Shane with Cinema Story Wedding Films, and please comment with any questions.